This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
Now at 6, slow and dangerous. A state of emergency now in effect for large parts of the East Coast as they wait and watch for Hurricane Dorian.
The storm's winds have died down ever so slightly as its track virtually stalled in the Atlantic on Monday, lashing the Bahamas and other areas with heavy rain and dangerously high winds. Good morning, I'm Meredith Barrick.
And I'm Lauren Casey, and we are following very latest with Hurricane Dorian right now. If there's any good news, it's the intensity has weakened ever so slightly overnight, but it's still a very destructive storm, and that means a lot of people up and down the East Coast are desperately just trying to get out of the way.
The hurricane has already left at least 5 people dead in the Bahamas after rain virtually flooded all of its islands, and now people who live in Florida, Georgia, and the Carolinas are either getting ready to ride out the storm or they are getting out of harm's way. ABC's Serena Marshall is live this morning in New Smyrna Beach along the central Florida coast. She has more on the impact from this storm. Serena.
Good morning. There are now 8,000 troops standing by, ready to respond. Officials, having seen what this storm can do, don't want to take any chances.
For more than 24 hours straight, Hurricane Dorian battering the Bahamas. 13,000 homes in the Bahamas estimated to have been destroyed.
Lenny's house. Used to be Lenny's house. What's left of it.
Floodwaters devouring the homes that weren't washed away. Already, at least 5 deaths are blamed on the storm, including this woman's grandson.
Did they say how he died?
I think they say he drowned.
We are in the midst of a historic tragedy in parts of northern Bahamas. Our mission and focus now is search, rescue, and recovery.
Our ABC News team riding out the storm in Marsh Harbor.
Swim! Swim! Swim!
Helping lead these people to safety. Stranded during the eye, the storm now creeping towards the Florida coastline. Officials ordering mandatory evacuations from Florida to North Carolina. Roughly 2 million people.
Mandatory evacuation is now in place.
In some cases, going door to door. This entire highway moving now away from the coast. But not everyone is heeding the warning. This man heading into the waters in Palm Beach. For others, not taking any chances.
The anticipation of it is nerve-wracking.
Flooding remains the major concern. Forecasters are saying some areas could get up to 15 inches of rain, and that storm surge could reach 7 feet. Live in New Smyrna Beach, Florida, Serena Marshall, ABC News. Now back to you.
Serena, thank you. And back here at home, luckily we're not getting anything from this storm.
Yeah, no. We have no impact from Dorian whatsoever here in central Indiana. We do have some storms in our forecast later on today, and a couple of those could be borderline strong to severe. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. But our immediate concern this morning is for some lower visibility here across the area. It's just very, very patchy, but there are some visibilities to the south that are below 1 mile. In Bloomington, 0.8 of a mile, and then a little pocket here that does impact Interstate 74 as you work your way through the Greensburg area over kind of towards Batesville as well. So again, the fog's not widespread this morning, but it is out there. So just give yourself a little extra time, and we will see that fog burn off very, very quickly here this morning as soon as the sun comes up in a little over 1 hour. The other thing we're watching is this cluster of storms. It was expected to weaken, but it's maintaining its strength pretty good here approaching the Chicago area. So I do think we'll have to include some clouds and a few isolated storms in northern locations here this morning. Everybody else, at least through the noon hour, should be mostly sunny. Your temperature by the noon hour 78. We're into the mid-80s later on this afternoon. We'll talk more about that and look ahead to your storm threat as well coming up in just a few minutes.
Todd, thanks. We are keeping a close eye on traffic as you head out the door on this Tuesday, and this is a live look at your commute to the southeast, I-465 near Arlington Avenue. Traffic is traveling smoothly both eastbound and westbound around this side of town. No issues to slow you down. Let's take a look at our traffic now map. The good news, no crashes around the metro area. Let's plan out your drive heading southbound through Hamilton County on I-69. It's just a 13-minute drive from State Road 13 all the way down to the I-465 ramp, so no delays there for your morning commute.
More now in the breaking news we have been following all morning. A shooting happening on the city's northeast side. Metro Police tell us a woman and child were injured in that shooting. It happened just before 3 o'clock this morning near Hovey Street and East 33rd. Police tell us that the woman was taken to the hospital in critical condition while the child suffered a graze wound. Officers did not release any information about a suspect.
The search for a missing 10-year-old girl in northern Indiana continues this morning. Skylee Carmack was last seen around Saturday afternoon on South D Street. Dozens of volunteers have gone door to door passing out flyers with Skylee's picture, asking for information about her. Her father says his daughter disappeared without a trace.
We haven't been able to find any tracks, none of her belongings laid around anywhere. So right now we're just really in a panic because we can't find anything.
Skylee is 5 feet tall. She weighs around 100 pounds with blonde hair and blue eyes. Police say she was last seen wearing a black shirt with the Super Mario Brothers characters Mario and Luigi on it with black pants. If you have any information, please call police at the number on your screen, 765-674-2278. At 6:05, after months of anticipation, the Red Line is now operating here across Indianapolis.
The Rapid Transit bus line opened for passengers on Sunday, and today there's a celebration of the project happening at the State House. That is where we find our Alyssa Donovan live this morning. Alyssa, this bus line is meant to improve travel times across the city.
That's right, Meredith. So this is going to run 20 hours a day, 7 days a week, and those buses are going to be stopping and arriving at these bus stops between 10 and 20 minutes. So that means it's going to be a quick ride for riders, a quick little wait for riders. I'm here with Lauren Day with Indigo. Tell me, what should people know as they're starting to ride these buses?
So like you said, today we start at 5 a.m. So this is really, we're looking about how can we get you to and from work. We're going to have double the number of buses on the road today. So again, helping with that spacing, that reliable arrival, 10 to 12 minutes at each station. Also helps with the overcrowding. We had really busy buses this weekend, which was a wonderful thing. And as a reminder to motorists who may be back from the holiday weekend, we have bus-only lanes. Really need you to stay out of the bus-only lanes and not cross the mountable medians. And then additionally on Capitol, behind me, we have a northbound bus-only lane. So that is tricky for motorists either entering or exiting parking garages or facilities or any of those streets that approach Capitol. Make sure you're looking both ways for that northbound bus lane.
So a little bit of growing pains, but during this week, you guys actually have a few fun things going on at the stops. Tell me a little bit about that.
We have a celebration this morning right here on the State House lawn that's open to the public. It starts at 7:30. We also have 18 local music groups at stations throughout the week. So it's a surprise if you get off a station. We have a schedule on our website, but that was an application process. We got over 100 applicants who wanted to participate, and just an hour of music throughout the day of local music. And we also have 200 volunteers at each of our stations. So they're answering questions. They're there to help you celebrate and make sure that you know where you're going.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here this morning. Very exciting for Indigo. And again, this is going to be free all month long to passengers so that you can give the Red Line a try. If you're not too sure about it, this is your time to give it a chance. There are also a few screens at these stops that are not quite in commission yet, but they will be up by the end of the week, and those will be showing arrival times so that you're very aware of when that next bus is coming to your stop. Reporting live, Alyssa Donovan, RTV6.
Alyssa, thank you. South Bend Mayor Pete Buttigieg knows he has to do well in the Iowa caucuses to keep his Democratic presidential campaign alive. Buttigieg and his team are rapidly trying to open a new number of campaign offices in Iowa, looking to take advantage of his previous fundraising numbers. Now the mayor hopes to turn that into votes before the caucuses happen next February. Right now, polls in Iowa show Buttigieg trailing Joe Biden, Elizabeth Warren, and Bernie Sanders. More than 17 million people were predicted to hop on a flight over Labor Day weekend.
And students in Greenwood are working to become those pilots that you're going to meet when you step on board that airplane. Our own Aaron Lish is joining us live this morning from the Indianapolis International Airport. And Aaron, is there a need for more people to be in the aviation industry?
There absolutely is. Right now, there's a lot of people pulling up to head out on a flight right now, and data is predicting that over the next 20 years, air travel is going to double worldwide. So there's that definite need out there. And at the Central 9 Career Center in Greenwood, they have the Aviation Flight and Operations program that help lay that groundwork for careers in aviation. So they learn about the technology, the overview of the industry, what the current environment is like right now, and the career opportunities in this field. The instructor, Matt Edwards, he really reiterates the need for more pilots and how this is getting students ready to fill those positions.
There are airlines right now that really are canceling flights because they don't have enough pilots. So it's vitally important to train a lot of pilots, and that pipeline to get them to the career field is pretty long. So anytime we can take off that to get them into the pilot seat is that much better.
And if we moved it.
So there is a lot of training out there, and they will have about a full semester of credits in an aviation major, so they will be ahead in college, and if they fly extra at the airport, they could be a full year ahead. And of course, many of those students want to become pilots, but there are other career opportunities out there like air traffic control, maintenance, and even managers. So this is a great program for those students who want to get into the aviation industry, and we're actually going to hear from them in the next half hour. But for now, back to you in the studio.
Erin, thank you. The U.S. Postal Service is holding a job fair this weekend. It runs from 9 to 2 on Saturday, September 7th at the Greater Indiana District Conference Center on Guyan Road on the northwest side of Indianapolis. Full-time and seasonal positions are available. At 6:10, let's check in with Todd.
All right, 2 minor speed bumps in our day today outside of what should overall be a very, very nice day. The first one of those little speed bumps is going to be some patchy fog out there down towards Bloomington and then over towards Greensburg and the Batesville area. And there is visibility that is down below 1 mile. So be aware of that. Otherwise, skies are clear this morning. That fog, that should burn off very quickly once the sun comes up. Our other little speed bump is the threat of some storms coming in here later on this afternoon for the most part. But this little band of rain approaching Chicago could clip some of our northern counties with first some clouds and some showers. But it's really this afternoon into the evening hours more so that we run the risk of seeing some strong to maybe severe storms. And the Storm Prediction Center has the northern half of the state under this slight risk. We'll talk more about the storm threat and look ahead to a beautiful stretch of weather in your 7-day coming up in just a few minutes.
Todd, thank you. Hiring Hoosiers is next on Good Morning Indiana, and sometimes small things can have a big impact. We'll look at someone whose invention is helping bring jobs to the area. That's next.
People committed to be the best.
Hiring Hoosiers now, and each day we work to connect you with job opportunities, resources, training, and education so you can enjoy a fulfilling job.
Yeah, and today we're taking a look at a unique local business. The owner is a young college student, and thanks to her idea, Hoosiers are getting hired. We traveled up to Elwood, Indiana to see how an invention can be a catalyst for job growth.
Well, the Socket Locket is an adhesive card holder where you can hold up to 1, 2, or 3 cards securely in place.
Cicero native Katie Gelhausen is a 20-year-old college student, and like any college student, carries around her phone and school ID wherever she goes.
You can pair it with your own phone grip and combine the two.
So a device like this Socket Locket is really handy, and she found it's something her friends need. The catch? It didn't exist at first.
So the idea kind of sparked when one of my friends had taken off her card holder and put on a phone grip and then lost her cards. There was nothing out there like the Socket Locket.
Katie is an entrepreneurship student at High Point University in North Carolina. She came up with the idea for the Socket Locket, and at 19 years old, took action.
So it all started with basically just a sketch.
She did research, made sketches, earned a prototyping scholarship, and is now patent pending. When looking for places to manufacture her product, she looked back home to Indiana, a place where she could be involved in the production process.
It just seemed like fate that it was only 20 miles up the road.
And that's where Mike Lieger with Progressive Plastics comes in.
Katie's been a powerhouse. She's very creative.
Mike and Progressive Plastics decided to take on the Socket Locket project. The Elwood manufacturer is a full-service custom injection molding company specializing in medical, military, and aerospace products. And inventors are especially important to this local businessman.
She has created something out of nothing, and that something demands attention. And that affects every facet of the manufacturing process. There's prototype tooling. We've got assembly workers. We've got production operators, tooling people that all are touched by a new product.
The success and demand for Katie's product not only impacts her business, but Mike's as well, allowing him to hire more Hoosiers.
This is going to end up requiring us to increase our staff probably 10 to 15%.
Not only providing jobs to his community in Elwood, but also helping his employees feel fulfilled in their work.
We want to make sure they understand that their reach goes much further than Elwood, that there are people all around this country that are picking up the products that you've produced And I think that means a lot in terms of somebody being able to get out of bed in the morning.
Well, not only is Mike looking to hire more help at Progressive Plastics, thanks to projects like the Socket Locket, Katie tells me she also has big plans for the future of her own business. Right now, she has 2 job openings, and she hopes to expand her products to include more phone accessories. So if you want to learn a little bit more about Socket Locket and the product, as well as job opportunities with Progressive Plastics, we posted more information for you under this story at hiringhoosiers.com.
Now back to Hurricane Dorian. Even as the Bahamas continue to battle massive flooding caused by the hurricane, famed Washington, D.C. chef Jose Andres and his team are on the island trying to help feed those in need. Andres and his charity, World Central Kitchen, made their way to the Bahamas before the storm hit. They set up kitchens in a variety of places to ride out the storm and are now providing sandwiches, hot meals, and water to several locations. Andres became famous last year for his efforts to bring food to Puerto Rico after Hurricane Maria left the island without power for months. At 6:18, Todd, you're tracking Dorian right now.
Yeah, and it still continues to be stationary across the Bahamas. It is just right now 35 miles north of Freeport, so obviously close enough to still be lashing the islands there with hurricane force winds. The sustained winds in the center, 120 miles per hour. That makes it a Category 3 storm. You notice the eye not as well defined, so it may be weakening just a little bit, but as it continues to slowly make its way eventually to the north later on this afternoon, there is the potential it could turn back into a Category 4 storm. The main impact for Florida would be coastal flooding, very windy conditions along the coast, but it does not look like at this point it's going to make landfall there in Florida, which is good news. Closer to home, some patchy fog in and around parts of central Indiana. Lowest visibility we have is Bloomington right now at 3/4 of a mile visibility. Some minor visibility issues as you work just north of Indianapolis, but as you look here live from our camera looking to the north, you can see that we don't have as much in the way of visibility issues here in downtown, and the skies just now starting to brighten as a sunrise is not now until about 7:15 this morning. 59 in Kokomo, 60 in Bloomington. So some of you may want a light jacket, but as soon as that sun comes up, you'll be able to shed that jacket very, very quickly. And we are going to warm our temperatures all the way into the mid-80s later on this afternoon. It's the warmest day of the week. Your noontime temperature 77, and then into that 83 to 85 degree range as we work our way into the 4 or 5 o'clock hour. As far as storm chances go, 2 kind of minor opportunities for storms today. The first is only in northern locations here as this cluster of storms makes its way through Chicago. May clip northern counties here in Indiana, so make sure if you're up towards Monticello, Peru, keep an eye on radar. Maybe there could be a quick passing shower. The better chance for everybody, though, is when this cold front comes through, but that is not on track to make its way into central Indiana until closer to sunset. So until then, we'll have a good amount of sunshine in our forecast throughout the day today. The main threat would be wind and hail and obviously lightning in some of these storms as they roll through later on this evening. And here they are on TrueCast, 5 o'clock. Some of them are just approaching northern portions of the state, and they're really weakening as they come through. So based upon the timing, I'm not expecting any widespread severe weather overnight tonight, but there could be an isolated thunderstorm warning. But as soon as that front goes through, we enter a beautiful stretch of weather with lots of sunshine, cooler temperatures tomorrow. Highs only in the mid-70s. And take a look at the overnight lows throughout the remainder of the week. Once we get to Thursday, Friday, Saturday morning, and even into Sunday morning and Monday morning, we're only talking about temperatures in the 50s in many locations. Lauren?
All right, Todd, thanks so much. Let's take a live look to our northwest. This is I-865 at Cooper Road. You can see some flashing lights there. That's just ongoing road work in the area. It's sort of under the bridge, if you can see it, and it's not impacting traffic in either direction, so that is good news this morning. Let's take a look at our traffic now map. Right now, no crashes to report around the metro area for your Tuesday morning drive heading in from the west side. If you start here at State Road 267, you drive eastbound to the I-465 ramps. That's only going to take you 7 minutes. No delays on the west side for your morning drive.
Here's a question. What would you do for a tasty chicken sandwich? Next in our trending 6, the extremes one group of people took after they were told a restaurant was sold out.
Furniture and mattress store, Ashley Home Store.
Before you head out the door, it's time for the Trending 6.
These are some of the stories that everyone's sharing online today that you'll want to know about. First, police in Houston are looking for people who went to extremes to get one of those scarce Popeyes chicken sandwiches. They say 2 women and 3 men stormed the front door of a Popeyes last night with at least one weapon. They had just been told at the drive-thru window that the store was sold out of the popular sandwiches. An employee was able to lock the doors before the 5 could get inside.
Wow. The town of Orange, Vermont has been going hog wild. About 250 pigs had been causing a ruckus after they escaped from an enclosure. The owner of a farm used a trail of hot dog buns to lure them back to the farm. Even so, the farm still faces a fine from the town for the cost to public agencies used in dealing with the pigs, and that fine stands at almost $82,000. That's a lot of bacon.
Yes. An Australian pilot in training is a hero after he landed a plane when his instructor passed out. It was only Max Sylvester's 3rd flight lesson, and he had never tried to land a plane before. Sylvester says the only reason he survived is because he spent a lot of time studying those training manuals before flying. The flight instructor apparently suffered from a seizure, but is expected to be okay.
Guessing maybe he threw a prayer in there too.
Oh, yeah, wow. Hail Mary.
Well, as they evacuate their homes and businesses because of Hurricane Dorian, some people are at least trying to keep a sense of humor about the situation. Some business owners got creative with messages left behind in their boarded up windows and doors. Some offered messages of hope, peace, and love, while one business owner simply said, "Okay, bye."
Well, there is a miniature horse up for adoption in Bucks County, Pennsylvania. His name is Waffles, but there's a catch. If you adopt Waffles, you also have to adopt his friend. There he is, a goose named Hemingway. It seems that the horse and the goose have become good friends since they were rescued from poor conditions at a farm. Well, now they don't go anywhere without each other. Sounds like a children's book.
It does.
Yeah. So
yesterday apparently was Arts and Crafts Day in the Wrigley Field bleachers. Check out this creation from Cubs fans, a giant snake of plastic beer cups that just keeps on going. No telling how many cups they have stacked there. They kept adding and adding thanks to fans nearby donating their empty cups until finally it was all that gravity could handle.
Oh my gosh,
now,
crazy.
Apparently, our producer might not know that Wrigley Field actually strongly discourages this. But our friends over at Barstool Sports, they encourage this, and they keep posting videos and videos of people creating longer and longer snakes.
All right.
So that, I think, is why.
Must not have been that exciting of a game either.
I know, if you're sitting there doing that.
All I know is there was a lot of old style getting...
Taking advantage of that Monday off.
You know, the sunshine there.
And it was a beautiful day in Chicago yesterday.
It was. Here as well, once we got rid of that fog. Yesterday morning turned into a beautiful afternoon. Lots of sunshine here today as well after just a little bit of fog this morning. It's not as widespread, though, as it was yesterday morning. We warmed quick, 78 degrees by the noon hour with high temperatures today in the mid to upper 80s. There's the chance of storms tonight. More on that coming up in Good Morning Indiana. Going to continue right here on RTV6.
36 months, I'm Morano.
This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
Breaking now at 6:30, a woman and a small child injured in a shooting early this morning. The details we're learning from police as they search for the person who pulled the trigger.
And Hurricane Dorian continues to pound the Bahamas as people living along the east coast of the U.S. are bracing for impact. The new videos we are getting out of the Bahamas this morning showing the devastation.
And helping their careers take flight. Just ahead in our Hiring Hoosiers Classroom to Career segment, we're looking at the local program training the next generation of pilots. But first, here at 6:30, I want to welcome you into Good Morning Indiana. I'm Lauren Casey.
And I'm Meredith Barrett, meteorologist Todd Clausen joining us here. The heat is going to be on today as we cruise into September, but then the temps do take a bit of a dip.
Yeah, you know, a little bit of everything. You're a fan of summer, today's kind of your day. A little bit of humidity out there as well. If you like that fall-like feel now that we're past Labor Day, well, you're going to like the days ahead, especially as we get towards the end of the week. As you walk out the door 94 here this morning. It's a little on the cool side. Some of you may want a light jacket. You will not need that jacket, though, in a couple hours as soon as the sun comes up. And you can see off in the distance some high thin clouds. Otherwise, we should have plenty of sunshine once that sun does rise officially in just about 45 minutes. A little bit of patchy fog in southern locations. That's something you'll have to be aware of. Bloomington, State Road 37, I-69 there, State Road 67 as you work your way up towards Morgan County. But overall, it's not a huge issue for us. Now, you do notice a little bit of cloud cover sneaking into the top of the satellite radar loop. And as I expand out, there's a cluster of storms moving through Chicago. Some of these storms may scoop across northern Indiana. So if you're traveling to the north, you live in northern locations, don't be shocked if you see an isolated storm this morning. But for most of us, we are dry throughout the morning hours with temperatures quickly warming up to 78 degrees by the time we get to the noon hour. We'll talk more about the rest of your day and the storm threat for tonight coming up in just a few minutes. Lauren?
All right, Todd, thanks so much. We have Shay Goodpaster out driving in our live drive vehicle. Here's a dash cam view for you this morning of I-70 westbound. This is over on the west side of town. If you're traveling in that area, it looks like everything is smooth sailing. No crashes right now around the metro area to slow you down.
This morning, we continue to follow breaking news from the city's northeast side.
That's where a woman and a small child were injured in a shooting. This happened just before 3 o'clock this morning near Hovey Street and East 33rd. Police tell us that the woman was taken to the hospital in critical condition while the child suffered a graze wound. Officers did not release any information yet about a possible suspect.
This morning, the Bahamas continue to be blasted by Hurricane Dorian.
The powerful storm remains parked off the coast of Florida as the United States braces for impact. Life-threatening storm surge has been sweeping across the Bahamas for days now. Cars and entire homes submerged for more than 24 hours straight. Authorities warning residents that they're on their own, telling them to use hammers to break through the attic if necessary. As that eye passed over, one mother pleading for prayers live on Facebook.
Everyone, please pray for us, please. Please, my baby's only 4 months old. Please pray for us. People trying to make it to the other side where this white house is, but some people, the water just took them.
This morning, the death toll in the Bahamas remains at 5. A now weaker Hurricane Dorian is expected to move up the eastern seaboard. And airlines are offering help to those who had their Labor Day plans put on hold because of Hurricane Dorian. Some of the top U.S. airlines are offering travel waivers for flights canceled because of the storm. The waiver allows you to change flight plans without paying fees. Travelers headed to dozens of airports in Florida, some of the Carolinas, and one in Georgia. You can rebook at a later date with that waiver. Right now, 6 flights out of Indianapolis are canceled today, so be sure to check on that.
Speaking of flights, taking to the skies, students in Greenwood are putting in the work to join in on the aviation industry.
Getting classroom to career ready, our Aaron Lish is live at the Indianapolis International Airport. Aaron, these students are learning all aspects of flying.
They truly are, from those small single-engine Cessnas to those rather large Airbuses that you see behind me here. They are learning all about planes, so in the future, they can help you get to your destination.
Remember what happens when you get more induced lift?
Students at Central 9 Career Center are laying down the groundwork to become the pilots of the future.
Whenever you're going to turn, whatever you think you're going to do with your hands, you just add a little bit of foot right before you do it.
In the Aviation Flight and Operations program, students will become familiar with aviation tech, the history of the industry, exploring the current aviation environment and careers.
Just flight, being in the air, it seems like it's really relaxing. On top of it, it makes good money.
And as the Indy Airport averages 145 flights a day, instructors say there's a major need for pilots.
There are airlines right now that really are canceling flights because they don't have enough pilots. So it's vitally important to train a lot of pilots, and that pipeline to get them to the career field is pretty long. So anytime we can take off that to get them into the pilot seat is that much better.
They will earn dual credits for the work in this program.
Plane is going to yaw as it's rolling.
Students say they'll also take away skills like problem solving, communication, and situational awareness, which they will use not only in flight, but throughout their lives.
It's not just a career thing. It helps you learn a lot of skills that are useful.
So So you have those pilots in the cockpit. You also have those people working on the planes with the maintenance, as well as those air traffic controllers in the towers. So this gives those students a variety of different career paths that they could take in the aviation industry. Back to you in the studio.
Erin, thank you. If you're looking to learn more about these career programs we're featuring or other job opportunities across Central Indiana, our Hiring Hoosiers Facebook page is a big help. That's where you can find posts from prospective companies looking for new employees and all of our other Hiring Hoosiers stories. That's all just a click away for you in the Hiring Hoosiers Facebook page.
The Red Line is open to passengers after months of anticipation. The Rapid Bus Line runs 13 miles from Broad Ripple to the University of Indianapolis. And our Alyssa Donovan is live this morning. Alyssa, this is expected to improve, I guess, transportation across the city.
That's right, Meredith, and it's very exciting for Indigo. They have been working on this project for years, and that construction has taken about 15 months. So today is going to be the first business day that it is open to riders. And Lauren Day is here with Indigo. Tell me a little bit about what riders should know.
So today we started service at 5 a.m. and we have 14 buses out. So that's almost double the number of the buses that we had out yesterday. So again, that really helps with that 10 to 12 minute frequency at each of the stations. Really want to make sure we can get you to work on time. We had busy buses all weekend, which is really exciting. And so we're looking at how can we add booster buses, even potentially express service where there are really heavy loads. So starting this work week will help us kind of understand what's it going to mean day to day.
And there are some people at the bus stops, just in case someone is unsure exactly how the Red Line works. Tell me a little bit about that.
We had over 200 members of the public say that they wanted to volunteer. We also have Indigo employees. So anybody in a blue shirt that says, ask me about transit, go ahead and ask them about transit. They are well versed in how the Red Line works, how the new fare system will work come October. So they're there all day, most of the stations. So go ahead and ask any questions you may have.
And we have some people setting up just behind you this morning. Tell me what's going on here.
So starting at 7:30, we have a public celebration. We have remarks from elected officials, community leaders talking about how did we get to this day after so many years. It's very exciting. We have coffee, music, donuts for the public. So come by anytime. It's very casual. Just enjoy celebrating this historic moment.
Wonderful. And then just one more question. We know that there's some changes for drivers as well. Just talk to me about that, just as people are heading out and jumping in their cars this morning.
Capitol has a northbound bus only lanes. All those motorists coming back from the holiday weekend, remember to look both ways. If you're using any of the streets that approach Capitol throughout the Red Line corridor, any of those parking facilities, just do an extra look to your right and make sure that or your left, so that make sure you see a northbound bus there.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much for being here this morning. And a reminder, the Red Line is going to be free throughout the month of September so that you can give it a try. There are some screens at the stops here. Those will be up and running by the end of the week, and those will show you the arrival times of the buses so that you can adjust your schedule and learn how this Red Line works throughout this week and throughout the whole month of September. Reporting live, Alyssa Donovan, RTV6.
We know those buses have been busy so far, Alyssa. Thank you so much. Time right now is 6:39. Police are looking for a driver who hit a man on the northeast side and then took off from that scene. The crash happened around 9:30 last night near East 30th Street and Sherman Drive. Police say the man was taken to the hospital in critical condition. Metro Police have not released details on the vehicle that left the scene yet, but if you have any information on this case, please call Crime Stoppers. That number is 317-262-TIPS.
Today, help will be offered to residents of a mobile home park who were abruptly told to pack up and leave. Residents of the I-70 mobile home park reached out to RTV6 2 weeks ago saying they weren't given enough notice, answers, or resources. In some cases, residents need to move their actual homes, which they own, but not the land beneath them. To help, the mayor's office and elected officials are holding a resource fair today. It will be held at the United Steelworkers Hall on Addison Street from 2 this afternoon until 7 tonight. Resources like legal clinic services and housing assistance will be available. It is 6:40, and that means it's time for our favorite forecast of the day.
Yeah, and that's the dog walking forecast. And today we are featuring Louie here, sent in by Becky. And Becky tells me Louie is her husband's best friend, and Louie's blind now. He gets a little bit older, but he listens to us, and Becky and her husband watch us every day. So thank you for doing that. And if you're walking the dog here this morning, green paws. As we go throughout the day today, it's going to be a warm one. We're actually starting off a little on the cooler side at 62 degrees. degrees, but we'll be warming into the mid-80s later on this afternoon. So the daytime hours today should be dry for most of us. Could be a spot shower this morning in northern locations, but the better storm chances, and they're not great, is going to be once the sun sets this evening. Once those storms do roll in, they'll be spotty, but a couple of them could be borderline strong to severe. We'll talk more about that coming up in Maine weather in just a few minutes.
Todd, thank you. We'll see you then. This morning, the recovery efforts continue after a tragedy on the ocean. The details we're learning after a boat fire claimed the lives of dozens.
And Hurricane Dorian impacting the happiest place on Earth. How Walt Disney World is preparing for the impact of that storm. It's 6:41 here on your Tuesday. We'll be right back. Welcome back. We are following breaking news out of Morgan County this morning. DNR officials say 3 people are still missing after a John boat capsized on the White River north of Martinsville. Authorities say 7 people were on board the boat when it capsized just before 10 o'clock last night. 2 people were rushed to the hospital in critical condition. The individuals were with a family fishing and picnicking along the White River. Authorities say the search for the missing individuals will resume at 8 a.m.
And Lauren, that news comes on the heels out of news from the West Coast, where search and rescue efforts will continue for the missing people following a deadly boat fire in California. 25 people who were on the boat have been confirmed dead. It caught fire and sank near Santa Cruz Island yesterday morning. 5 crew members managed to escape after the flames engulfed the boat called the Conception. Passengers were inside sleeping at the time and were trapped below deck.
Our hearts go out to the families of the victims of this terrible tragedy. We understand the tremendous burden that they are under right now as they wait to determine exactly what happened and what condition and situation their loved ones are in.
It is still unclear what caused the fire, but officials say there's no indication of foul play.
At 6:45 this morning, a high school quarterback in Pennsylvania is recovering in the hospital. He was shot just one day after leading his school to a victory. Police say when Jalen Dukes was sitting in a car near Pittsburgh, someone opened fire. Dukes was shot just one day after scoring 3 touchdowns for his high school on Friday night. Dukes was shot in the leg and foot and is expected to recover. There's no word on what sparked that shooting. Well, the measles outbreak in the United States continues to grow. The CDC reporting the number of cases has surpassed 1,200. The measles cases have been confirmed in 31 states. The CDC says the most are among people who are not vaccinated against the virus. The CDC says more than 75% of the measles cases are linked to the outbreaks in New York State and New York City. A director at the CDC says there's a reasonable chance the U.S. will lose its measles elimination status in October because of the ongoing outbreaks in New York.
We are working for you this morning with a recall alert. You'll want to pay special attention if you have a Ford parked in your driveway. The automaker is recalling more than 550,000 trucks and SUVs because the back seats may not properly restrain passengers in a crash. The recall covers 2018 through 2020 Ford F-150 Explorers and Lincoln Aviators. 2019 and 2020 Super Duty trucks and Ford Expeditions are also included. Ford says it does not know of any injuries. Dealers will inspect and replace seat structures if needed.
At 6:46, the happiest place on earth is about to be a very lonely place. Disney World will shut its doors early today. It's all in preparation of Hurricane Dorian. Magic Kingdom and Epcot will close at 3 o'clock this afternoon. Disney hotels and resorts will remain open, but Disney's Fort Wilderness Resort and Campground will be evacuated. The parks will reopen when it is deemed safe to do so. And this is a storm, Meredith, I feel like we've just been sitting and watching for so long.
And I can't imagine for the folks who are sitting and watching and waiting, who actually live in the path of that storm, Todd. I can only imagine the anticipation and anxiety that they're going through.
Yeah, you know, I have some friends from high school that live in Florida, and I see their posts on social media, and they're like, we don't know what to do. We've been storing up water for almost a week. It was going to hit us. Now it's not going to hit us. It's been a pretty unique storm in the sense that at one, it was only supposed to be a Category 1, and then it blossomed into a Category 5. And the other unique thing is it's just been sitting off the Florida Florida coast. Stationary for the most part, at least for the last 24 hours. It's been a very slow-moving storm, and the 6 o'clock update still has it as stationary with sustained winds at 120 miles per hour, which makes it a Category 3 storm. You notice the eye not quite as well defined, so that shows a little bit of a weakening, but it's still very symmetrical, so you're not getting that dry air or wind shear coming in, breaking this storm apart. But it is still expected to stay offshore from the coast of Florida, not making direct landfall. There'll be some indirect impacts with the waves, beach erosion, some coastal flooding, and they'll still get some pretty good winds and rain along Florida, but being spared a direct hit is key. And really the only part of the United States it's going to impact as far as the eye making landfall is potentially scooting along the outer banks here as we get into the Thursday, Friday time frame, and then it's going to shoot out to sea and up into the North Atlantic. So we'll still be talking about Dorian here at least throughout much of this upcoming week. Closer to home, it's pretty quiet. A little bit of patchy fog out there in southern locations. Bloomington visibility down below 1 mile, but a beautiful sunrise here in downtown as you look to the north. Some clouds off in the distance there, but they'll burn off pretty quickly once that sun gets higher above the horizon. And temperatures this morning, we're in the 50s and 60s, so it's a little on the cool side. You can take a jacket maybe this morning if you don't like these cooler temperatures, but you will warm very, very quickly throughout the day today to high temperatures that eventually get into the mid to upper 80s. So it's a warm day for us, kind of that summer-like feel, a little bit of humidity around as well. And with that will come the chance of storms. So while it's clear right now, there is this cluster of storms, nothing severe here, making its way into the Chicago area right now. I drew this line here. If you live north of this line, you'll have the best chance of seeing a few storms this morning and more in the way of cloud cover. To the south of that line, you should remain dry, but the actual cold front is still well off to our northwest. That comes through tonight, giving us another opportunity to pick up some storms. So the slight risk that we have out there is not for this morning in that cluster near Chicago right now. It's for later on tonight as the cold front comes through. So the clouds will increase a little bit here this afternoon, then some spotty storms possible after sunset and into the overnight hours. The main threat with these storms as they roll through would be the potential for some damaging wind and maybe a little bit of some spotty hail in some of these storms, but this is not a widespread severe weather threat for us by any means, and some of you don't even see any rainfall throughout the overnight hours. So it's not a guarantee you see the storms, but once that front does go through, what is a guarantee is we replace the air mass. Look at the temperatures for both highs and lows the coming days. Highs in the 70s, lows in the 50s, but plenty of sunshine leading all the way into the weekend. Lauren?
All right, Todd, thanks so much. We have our own Shay Goodfaster driving our live drive vehicle, and here's a view from the dash cam. You can see he's traveling on eastbound I-70 near the downtown area and the North Split. You can see the sun starting to peek over the horizon there. Traffic is moving along smoothly for your Tuesday back to work day after the long holiday weekend. No crashes here downtown to slow you down. Well, the force was with Star Wars fans this time as the TSA reversing its ban on these souvenir Coke bottles. The orb-shaped bottles resembled either droids or thermal detonators. The TSA banned them last week, saying that they looked like explosives. The bottles are exclusively sold at the Star Wars lands in Disney World and Disneyland. Friday, the TSA said the bottles can be allowed on the carry-on items, but they must be empty.
He is the new face of the Indianapolis Colts, and this morning he's also a lot wealthier. We'll tell you the new contract just signed by quarterback Jacoby Brissett.
Working for you.
Scammers are keeping up with the newest technology, and they now can target your Amazon Alexa or even Siri on your phone. The Better Business Bureau has issued a warning about the scam, saying it happens when you ask a virtual assistant to look up a phone number. The algorithm on the devices have picked up scam numbers and give that answer instead. Scammers have figured out some search engine techniques so they show up in the top results. If you call the number, they will likely try to convince you to send them money for special promotions. The BBB says it's important to instead look up contact information yourself.
Well, the Andrew Luck era in Indianapolis is now a thing of the past, and the keys to the Indianapolis Colts have been handed over to Jacoby Brissett. And this morning, the new starting quarterback has a few extra dollars in his pocket as well. The Colts signed Brissett to a new 2-year contract worth $30 million. Brissett was in the final year of his rookie contract, and this move will give the Colts stability through the next 2 seasons. Brissett will take over for Luck starting this Sunday when the Colts open their season against the Los Angeles Chargers.
The NHRA U.S. Nationals has once again come to a close at Lucas Oil Raceway in Indianapolis. It was an exciting Monday of racing that proved age is just a number. The biggest story was 70-year-old John Force, what a great name, taking home a championship in the funny car class. The win meant Force broke a 17-year drought in Indianapolis. The victory makes Force the oldest pro to win in an NHRA event ever. 55-year-old Doug Kalita also secured a victory in the top fuel class, giving him his first victory in Indy. That is proof never, ever give up.
Yeah, I love that. I think John Force and Will Power should hang out.
No kidding.
They're the best racing names.
Now to possibly the most bizarre thing you will see all day. We all know that retirement means you can kick back little, let loose.
Yeah, well, that's exactly what former NBA star Dwayne Wade is doing right now, apparently. Come take a look. This is Wade dancing alongside his former coach, Pat Riley.
The pair are currently vacationing on a yacht right now in Saint-Tropez. We don't have any context for what exactly is going on here, but it is taking the internet by storm this morning.
They got a little vest on.
I have a feeling that might be a popular Halloween costume this year if that continues to be viral.
I think so.
I would expect Dwayne Wade to be able to dance pretty well. Pat Riley there, though, he's moving.
He's got some moves.
Well, and they've got
pretty good.
Well, if you can hear in the background, listen to the music.
Yeah.
Keep singing.
They're having a good time. All right, let's get one more check of your forecast.
All right, a little bit of patchy fog out there this morning. That'll burn off quick, and we'll be left with lots of sunshine here throughout the day today. One little exception is there could be some spotty storms this morning in far northern communities, but most of us should remain sunny. Another round of storms potentially after sunset tonight into the overnight hours, and then a beautiful stretch of weather with low humidity, lots of sunshine, and very comfortable temperatures for the rest of the week and into the weekend.
All right, looking forward to a great week, Todd. Thanks so much, and thanks for joining us. We're going to be back here in 25 minutes and all throughout Good Morning America.
And don't forget, all your news throughout the day can be found on the RTV6 app. Have a great Tuesday.